Oh my goodness. Da 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 da. What's my good chair? Welcome, everybody. Let's give YouTube a couple of minutes to get those notifications out. In the meantime, if you've never popped into one of my lives before, hi, I'm Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside. Hit that live button, Cindy. Just hit that live button. Grateful to have this job, right? That gives me a place to ground, to remind me that I am human, 100%. And again, yesterday I was saying, if I didn't have that job in this moment, I don't know how strict I would have been with myself. How mm, I'm not saying strict, but holding myself accountable in keeping myself busy in productive things that move me forward. I have my brand. Thank goodness I have my brand that consistently for the rest of my life I will be moving forward, right? But, right, at what speed, at what capacity, right? And at what enjoyment, right? It's all in that mix, that cake that I am throwing in the ingredients. I'm late making the blue ribbon recipe of Cindy. And you could go by the exact same recipe, but I tell you, that cake is going to taste differently, right? Maybe it'll look exactly the same. Maybe your cake will look 100 times better than mine. But when you bite into my cake, you're going to feel the love I put into it. You're going to feel the effort that I put into it, right? And if there's a little bit of bitterness, that's Cindy, right? Put a little bit too much baking soda in her cake. But you know what? It doesn't affect it in any way. It just made me take note. This cake is amazing. And each one of us should be in that process of making their own blue ribbon recipe, and whether it's a chili or right, these are only analogies, but you can apply whatever you want to that, right? I am creating the best human being that I possibly can, knowing that that's an unachievable task in this lifetime, guaranteed, right? Look at the world. This is not the world that we want to, right? We go, oh my goodness, this is it. Let's live in eternity in this world the way it's running right now. You look out at the world, you see there's still a lot of kinks in it, right? There's still a lot of souls making missteps, and there are a lot of humans grasping, right, for anything that's dangling for a little bit of help, a little bit of assistance, a little bit of movement for themselves. I get it. I was that person for 57 years. 57 years. That's incredible. And I don't know what that click was that made it so I was going down a separate road. It was a chain of events that I'm not sure whether or not, even if I delved back, that I would truly be able to get the gist of how magnificent and how well planned it was. And it is. I'll never get it down packed, but you can tell by the look in my face and that little bit of giggle that didn't stop me from trying and picking up things along the way, right? And sometimes we are our own instigators in things. I truly believe that, I wasn't meant to wake up. whether by intent or whether by just natural forces or something planned way off somewhere else. I don't know. I don't feel those compulsions. I don't feel that desperation to look for those answers. I'm creating the best human being that I possibly can, right? Understanding, right? There is something more. We are something more. But I tell you, we're not close yet. We're not close yet. And yes, right, we are moving forward and we're going to have better ideas and we're going to have choices in the perspectives, right, that we get to own for ourselves because we'll be off searching them out just like, right? Right. And to each one of us get to add that ingredient to our own recipe of life. And if you want to make yourself miserable, if you want to be a zero, right, think of those other parts of you that you're taking along for that ride, right? I get it. This is a team effort, but this is a team problem too. And we're not talking team as in the bigger scope. We're talking about that team of ourselves, right? If you're like me in any way, like, right, you're moving about the world as, right, I've got this. I don't need your help. What can I do for you? Let me hold that. I am sorry. Oh my goodness, forgive me. How can I make that up to you? And not asking anything for ourselves. Grateful I got invited to this party because, again, I don't know where it was in that crossroads in my life that dictated that this is where I was going to be today, right? And where I am today is not where I'm going to be next year, right? Or 10 years, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, 50 years. I'm shooting for 114, you guys. Wouldn't that be the evidence? Wouldn't that be the evidence, right? But I might not even live and expand in any way where I can make an impact in my perspectives, right? We need as many perspectives out in that world as we possibly can because we're not going to be able to find each other. We're not going to be able to find our own if we don't have those sensitivities, right? And we're not part of that majority, are we? Right? We feel everything, and right, we're like CIA, right? We're like the president's bodyguards. That's that's what we are for a lot of us, right? I'm working out of that, and I think for my whole life in this process of creating the best human being possible, because I didn't know that there was anything else possible. Those conversations, those experiences, those adventures never came across my path, right? So, in that bettering myself, right, I wasn't bettering those other parts of me. Now, right, that's where the effort is going. And because I'm putting that effort there, I'm seeing wires untangle in my life. I'm finding direction through choices that I'm making. I'm feeling those other parts of me, obviously, but it's comfortable, right? And I do believe it's that idea of baby steps. I do believe it's just moving constantly. And if you've been with me for any length of time, I'm a mover. You know I'm moving in my thoughts, my emotions, in my physical well being, right? I'm moving with others with good intent, right? And people with intent for themselves, right? Or see that intent and just, right, need to throw that wrench into it. But I'm moving with that too, right? Because that's all in the end going to be the evidence. Like I said, right? YouTube might show this to somebody 10 years, 20 years, 30 years after I'm gone, right? Maybe in this moment, because it's not the majority, that these ideas are not even being looked at as even a pimple, something to even be noticed, right? But somewhere's down the road, right? Somewhere's down the road, I do believe that a lot of these perspectives, a lot of these amazing creators out there who are stepping outside of themselves, right? Right? They could be laying on the beach drinking pina coladas. For me, it'd be traipsing down a trail or doing a hike up a mountain, sitting at a stream, looking at a beautiful landscape, watching the animals, having a good conversation, a good meal, and a good sleepy. Knowing that I'm going to be here tomorrow and, right, I'll be introducing change. My world is not going to look the same as it did today or if I was sitting on that stream because, right, with that majority, we move. If we don't move with that part of the majority, we're left behind, and we can't be left behind in the greatest evolution, right? That creation of the best human being we possibly can. You guys, we got this word this week, presence. I woke up into this game kind of late. But, I see in those interactions, those conversations, right? Sometimes in just a slight moment, sometimes it's in those deep relationships that we build along the way. That, even though there weren't lots and right, and for a lot of time, there was a lot of pushback in my life. I was able to bump into amazing creators that have let me be myself, accepted me in my handicaps, right? Or in those lack of majorities, which is the expectations that we're all fed through social media of how things should be, how we should be, how we should look, how we should raise our family, right? That's why I believe in common values because we're this close from everybody in the world now. This digital age has afforded us to be this close from absolutely everybody in the world, right? And so we got to find a new majority in that because we can't leave people out if they choose to move forward. That's the whole point in the creation of the best human being we possibly can. And for my ideas, the only way is to move along with common values, right? Not common religions, not common political ideas, though a lot of these ideas do rub against common values. But then again, common values has to be voted on by the majority. And to each one of us, we have different values, don't we? But if we hope to move forward, if we have this understanding that it takes all kinds to make the world, and we're just not untangling those wires yet, right? That you wake up and you say, "Oh, we're not quite there yet. What can we do?" Right? And this is what I thought of, right? From my own experiences, right? From some of that great influence that I've had in my life. And that influence, wow, right? So amazing to grow alongside them, right? Because being highly sensitive and being paths are quite loyal to who we connect with, don't we? So I have to say, there's not too many people that I have left behind in receiving those gifts that helped me to get to where I am now. And then some of them, to look at what they're bringing to the table, it blows me away because I'm just a 62-year-old lady from Winnipeg, Manitoba, working in a part-time job, in a thrift store that puts the roof over my head, coming home, taking in the lessons, having my own experiences and realizations, and then looking out into the world because we're all this close now, and looking to see, where can I help? Where can I fit in? Right? Who are moving with values, if not exactly the same, very similar, right? Because if they're not the same, sometimes it's just like, right, right? And sometimes we can just put up with that person who's just got something to say, right? I have something to say. I have something to say every single day, but I own that. I own that as part of my presence, right? And I'm not going to allow anybody to put me in a corner or tell me I don't have a voice or an opinion of value or something to contribute. That's been going on too far along in my life. And I have gratefulness, right? Been allowed in these past, how long? Because who knows when that crossroads is? We have those moments and we go, oh, right? That's it. But I've had lots of incredible moments in my life. Lots, right? Who's to say which one it was? Maybe the important one is the one that started it, right? The one who started it. We won't tell you another daddy story. Okay, you guys, right? Presents. You got a little feed in my presence today. It's what I want to bring to the table, in that genuineness, in that naivety. It's a hard word. Naivety. It's a hard word for me. You guys, we all have those issues, right? We all got handicaps, right? Some of them are visible, some of them are not visible. I would much rather see the visible, right? Even if the visible is invisible, because sometimes it takes more courage to bring it to the surface to be seen than having it seen from day one. Okay, you guys, that's my good cheer. We'll see you Monday. It's Friday, you guys. If you want to come and hang out with me on Sunday night, we have Chatters Live on Sunday night. Tomorrow, I'll be on Instagram at some point, early evening, late evening, 5 minutes to 12. But sometime tomorrow, I will be on Instagram. If not, we'll see you Monday. Have a great weekend.